Good afternoon. Welcome to the Wayne County Board of Commissioners meeting for July 8th, 2020. I want to say good morning. It's about I don't know what to do because we don't usually have afternoon meetings, but this one had to work out that way. I want to remind all of us here, first of all, to silence your cell phone, and we're also still in phase 2 of restrictions as far as the COVID-19. And if you will, when you're sitting here and unless you're speaking, please wear your mask and try to maintain your social distancing of 6 feet. Today, we are not going to have a pre-agenda meeting for this meeting like we normally do. We're going to go straight into the agenda because we can discuss it and make changes as we go along. So does any commissioners have any problem with that? Are you okay?
Okay.
We're just going straight into the agenda.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay. Commissioner Pate, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. All right, at this time, I do call our Wayne County Board of Commissioners to order. Our invocation today is Commissioner Camardi. Mr. Camardi.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this afternoon, first to give thanks that we're able to assemble to do the business of Wayne County. Father, we ask you to guide our thoughts and our minds, and especially our tongues, that we conduct these meetings in decorum without malice or forethought. This meeting, dear Heavenly Father, is important to our constituency. We will make decisions over this day and days to come that will have a specific and direct impact on our constituency. Of the reasons we're here is to serve those who we live among. Dear Heavenly Father, I ask you to guide our thoughts, help us with our decisions, and all these things in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Okay, our Pledge of Allegiance is by Commissioner Worrell.
We all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You have before you the next is approval of the minutes from our June 16th meeting. Does anyone have any changes or to those minutes?
I move approval.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes for June 16th. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Page?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
I hear you, sir. Thank you. Okay, motion carries. We have the discussion and adjustment of the agenda, which we're going to forego at this time, unless you want to have a few things.
We do, Mr. Chairman. In front of you, you should see Budget Amendment 670 and 672 that we would like to walk on, and Allison will go over that during the Budget Amendment time under consent agenda.
Okay. Okay, anything else, Mr. Honeycutt?
No, sir.
Okay. So at this time, the next item on our agenda, at 1 o'clock, we have a public hearing. The public hearing to receive public comments on our proposed franchise for North State Investment Group, North State Medical Transport, and MedX Medical Transport Service Incorporated to furnish non-emergency medical transport and other transport as required. Would you have some comments, Mr.
I do, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. As the board is aware, we currently have a franchise agreement with North State Medical Transport that allows for non-emergency transport within the county from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Currently, this is the only company that we franchise with. However, since the county has moved towards ending the operations of Wayne Net, which has served as the county's main emergency or non-emergency transport, it was determined that we needed additional capacity to supplement North State. Also, we needed to look at changing the hours, since we now will allow this to be a 24/7 coverage. In working with Purchasing Director and also our EMS Director, Dave Cutterback, we'd like to also recommend MedX to have an additional franchise for non-emergency transport with the county along with North State. And we do have representatives from MedX here. And also, Dave, I believe you're on the line.
Yes, sir.
And so if you have any questions that I've not answered, Dave is ready for any questions that we may have.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions before we go into the public hearing? Any questions?
I did have.
Yes. Commissioner Daugherty.
How soon are we planning on implementing this, assuming this after the public hearing and it's voted on?
We do have to have another public hearing. So we'll look at ramping it up as quickly as possible, at least by September 1. That's when we are kind of hoping to fully get out and shut down Wayne Net.
Okay, thank you.
So we got to have another public hearing after this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Any other comments or questions? Yes?
Chairman, we actually did not get a motion to accept the agenda.
Oh, okay.
My apologies.
No, I'm sorry, that's my mistake. Okay, we have a motion to accept the agenda.
So
All in favor say aye. Aye. Mr. Pate?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Wayne, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that, Carol. Okay, so at this time, I declare us in the public hearing for the purpose that have been stated. Does anyone wish to speak at this time? If you will come up, we've changed our policies. If you'll come up to the podium, we do not have, you don't have to give your name, you don't have to give your address and phone number, but you do have to give it to Ms. Carroll. For security reasons, we just want you to state your name. So if you'll come up to the podium here, sir.
And I'll just hand that to her.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeff White, Chief Operations Officer with MedX. Just want to come up and introduce ourselves. We're excited about this opportunity and wanted to check to see if anybody had any questions for us.
No, we're just ready to get going.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Any questions?
Just a little bit of background. I mean,
Yes, sir.
how long you been in business and where you out of? And
We've been in business since 2010. We're based, our corporate office is in Ahoskie, North Carolina, and we have offices in Pitt County, Greene County, Wilson County, Johnston County, Cumberland, Wake, and Durham.
And pretty soon for Wayne.
And it's pretty soon from Wayne. Hoping to go look at one today.
Yeah.
All right, again, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Does anyone else wish to speak?
Dave, did you want to say anything?
I want to say thank you to everybody that's been involved in the process. There's been a lot of moving pieces, and this has been a team effort, so I appreciate everyone's work.
Thank you, Dave.
Any other comments? Does anyone else wish to speak? Okay, I declare a public hearing closed at this time. We'll move right into the public comments. Do we have anyone?
No, sir.
We do not have anyone. Okay. All right. Boy, we're moving right along, aren't we?
don't start bragging. This is too early in the game. Start bragging.
Well, okay, you're right, Mr. Aycock. Mr. Aycock, form a committee?
Yes, sir. And Carol's going to help me walk through this.
Yes, sir. We have quite a bit, and
If you want to start with those that were done on,
Okay.
at the June 16th.
Okay, the appointment committee made recommendations at the June 16th meeting to be voted on today at our July the 8th meeting. The first one is a new appointment, Mr. Kevin Stallings to the East Carolina Regional Housing Authority. And that's already been presented by the nominating committee, so it's, you want to vote on them separately, or
If we can, yeah. So that's the form of a motion.
that's form of a motion?
Okay, we have a motion on the floor from Mr. Aycock. All in favor say aye. Aye. Mr. Pate?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, the next one is a reappointment, Ms. Margaret Davis to the Commissioners' Council for Elderly Adults, and this is a reappointment.
Okay, that's in form of a motion. All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Mr. Pate?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, next one is the appointment of Mr. Perry D. Pete King to George Chapel Fire Department Fire Commission, and that's a request from George Chapel Fire Department.
Okay, we have a motion at this time. All in favor say aye, please. Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Pate? Aye. Okay, I got you. Thank you, Mr. Pate.
Do you remember the name?
No.
Let me, let's skip that for just a moment. We
Okay.
need to make a decision on that.
Okay. We also need to make a decision on Dr. George Silver for the Board of Health. There has not been a motion made for him, and the one for Dr. Ladd was rescinded. Right?
Yes, sir. So at this point, you want to make a motion because that's the recommendation from the Board of Health.
The recommendation from the Board of Health is Dr. George Silver.
Okay, and that's in form of a motion.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor of Dr. George Silvers, say aye. Aye. Okay, thank you. Motion carries.
All right. Now you're going to make a recommendation.
Okay, the next one,
You just want to make a recommendation.
we don't make a recommendations on the chairman for the ABC Board, and the recommendation is Miles Kelly. That's in form of a motion.
That's in form of a motion, okay? All in favor of Miles Kelly on the ABC Board, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries unanimous.
Okay. And the reason this is kind of complicated today, some of the stuff had been, just hadn't been brought to our attention, or was not on the last agenda. It had already been presented to you, what, 2 meetings ago?
Yes, sir.
And it was not on our agenda at our last meeting. The reappointment of Nancy Reeves to the Wayne County Public Library Board of Advisors. And that was presented to y'all 2 meetings ago, and we didn't vote on it the last time because it wasn't on our agenda. And that's in form of a motion.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All-
And the same on this one, the reappointment of Greg Ricker, Chad Coker, and Paul King to the Wayne County Executive Jetport. That was presented to you 2 meetings ago.
Right.
And that's in
Okay.
form of a motion.
We have a motion on the floor. All in favor say aye. Okay, all unanimous. Motion carries.
Okay, staying with the Jetport, recommendation for Mr. Greg Ricker to be chairman of the board at the airport. That's in form of a motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor say aye. Okay.
Okay.
We're all unanimous.
And the last one is Blair Tyndall as vice chair at the Jetport Advisory Board.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank
And-
you.
And again, we apologize for some of this stuff, but it just
Well,
happened.
it came out fine, Mr. Acuff.
It worked out.
It worked out, okay. All right, next is our consent agenda, Mr. Honeycutt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We can do the first two fairly easily if you'd like. We do have one application for elderly and disabled exclusion. We have 5 applications for disabled veteran exclusion and 1 application for present use value. So those are all recommended by staff for approval.
Mr. Chairman, are we going to vote on these individually?
Or we can, or do 1 through 3 is approved.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the applications for elderly disabled exclusion, applications for disabled veteran exclusion, and application for present use value.
Okay, application 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion? All in favor, I'll say aye. Aye. Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
And next is our budget amendments, and I will turn that over to Allison.
Okay, well, we do have several, and since Mr. Pate is calling in, I'll call out the budget amendment number and page number. So beginning on page number 28, number 594, I am requesting that we anticipate and appropriate an additional $181,393.83 in sales tax allocation for the school sales tax fund. This is due to an overcollection above what was budgeted for the fiscal year ending June 30. And this is the amount that we are required to give to to put in the school sales tax fund. Number 608 on page 30. I presented this in the agenda review last week. I still do not have an answer on this from the School of Government. If it is okay, I would like to remove this budget amendment until the next meeting. I didn't catch that until now. So if you all are okay with it, until I get a clarifying answer from the School of Government on how to handle this, I'd like to take this out until next meeting.
We okay with that, Commissioner?
Sure. Yeah, we're good.
Okay,
Till we
thank
get a
you.
clear-
That number was
608 on page 30.
Okay. You okay with that, Ed?
Fine.
Okay.
Thank you. Number 613 on page 32 is for central services. This is to reallocate $19,400 from an existing insurance line to cover additional premiums for contribution of retirees. This is due to an increase in premiums on Medicare Part D coverage. And I did have a question on that about how many people that represents. We have 47 on the regular group policy and 82 retirees on the Medicare supplement policy. And these are for our retirees. Number 617 on page 34 is for the Animal Control Department. There's a few budget amendments like this. At the end of the year, we do a review of our accounts receivable and determine what outstanding balances need to be written off because they are not considered to be collectible. And to keep them on our books would be overstating our revenue. So we are asking to write off $5,436 in uncollectible revenue on animal control citations. But whether we write them off or not, all of these are sent to debt set-off. So we do still try to collect these even if we write off the revenue. And if we happen to have collections on them, we recognize the revenue at that time. Does that make sense? Number 618 on page 36 is also a bad debt write-off for the planning department in the amount of $1,000. Those will be sent to debt set-off.
Well, I could have a question.
Yes, sir.
It says it's bad debt write-off. What was the reason that they won't collect it? I mean, people deceased, business gone out of business? Well,
It's various reasons, but numerous attempts have been made to collect on these, and you might get you might not be able to have anybody that you can find to communicate with on it. It could be that they've gone out of business, things like that. But that's why we send it to debt set off, so that if they file a tax return or things like that, that hopefully we can gain some collections through that program.
Okay.
Your next budget amendment is number 645 on page 39. We are anticipating an additional $51,348.03 in FEMA revenues to be paid for COVID-related expenses for this fiscal year. And you can see the various breakdown of the expenditure line items we've had.
And we probably will continue to see budget amendments on this until I have to know them.
Yes, well, and we've done one already for this, so this is our second one, and we're just accumulating as those expenditures come in, he gets a group of them, and then he prepares a budget amendment. But we had to settle up for the fiscal year, so this should be the last one for this year. On page 41, number 649, this budget amendment is to adjust the debt service. As you recall, in November, you voted to reallocate the limited obligation bond funds that were left over from the Grantham Sewer Project. You reallocated $200,000 to the Fiber Loop project and the rest of it to the Southern Wayne High School Gym project. And so we had to adjust the debt service accordingly. And I requested that Davenport prepare new financial schedules for me. And so this just adjusts the debt service to those new borrowing amounts. Number 650 on page 43. This is for wages, this is basically pass-through money for us. They received additional funding from HCCBG in the amount of $18,167. And this was to prepare and distribute frozen meals to the seniors during the COVID crisis. Number 651 on page 45. We have received in March, we received a payment from FEMA on Hurricane Florence. So you'll recall this was back from 2018. And this is monies that were spent back in 2018, so we are just now receiving those funds. Some of it is owed to the fire departments because they have to file for their expenditure reimbursement under our county ID. So we are requesting to pay out $16,200.40 to fire departments, and the remainder is going to our fund balance appropriated because we spent that money up front and we're just now getting reimbursed for it. Number 652 on page 47 is, I believe, our last bad debt write-off request for the planning department in the amount of $527.75. And I didn't mention this before, but your breakdowns of those write-offs are behind your budget amendments.
I still don't understand why they can't be collected. The signs are still up.
And Chase Signs is still in business.
I can try to find out some more information on the reasons that they were unable to collect these. The departments submit these to us at the end of the year, and I'll be glad to reach out to those departments and get those reasons.
Well, we need to know. I mean, is it? I keep my thoughts to myself.
Okay.
Question, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Payne.
and this is also to Alice. Do we, example, these signs, we got 3 different companies, and if it's, as Graycock said, the signs are still out there, do we not allow them to do any more signs until such time they pay their bills?
We should not. I know we have similar policies like that out at the landfill if they have an outstanding balance with us like that, so it should be the same out there.
No, I'm good, so, thank you.
And Chip just confirmed that is the case.
Okay.
All right.
For workers' comp, on page 50, number 659, we are asking to anticipate $8,424 in additional workers' comp claims above what we budgeted. We actually appropriated enough money at the beginning of the year and reallocated it to our excess insurance policy, and our claims came in higher towards the end of this fiscal year, so we ended up needing those funds. We do have enough in the workers' comp fund balance to cover that, so it's not coming out of general fund balance. Number 661 on page 52 is for our 1920 County Debt Project Fund. This is to appropriate funds for the purchase of land for the Eureka Tower site, and to also appropriate money for fencing for those tower sites to provide security for the actual tower and the building that sits out there with those tower sites, and that's for all three of them. And that will be reimbursed from debt proceeds. Number 662 on page 55. You all actually approved this transaction, but we did not have the budget amendment prepared at the time. The schools purchased some land in Fremont, and you approved for them to use school sales tax funds, and so you approved that amount to be up to $312,000. The county's balance ended up being $308,397.19 from that school sales tax fund. So this is the budget amendment to move the exact dollar amount to the appropriate line item.
Question.
Yes, sir.
They were going to get this money anyhow because this is what's appropriated to them through the sales tax.
That's right.
Okay.
Just off, does anybody know if that's been closed on or not?
It should, yeah.
It has? Okay. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Was that deed transferred to the schools? So if we go any further, then they have to deed it back to us.
If they're going to build a school.
If they want to.
And if they want to get the sales tax
Right.
reimbursement.
Okay, thank you.
You had suggested that to them when they,
It's like they needed to start off with, you know, but whatever.
Okay.
Mr.
Oh,
Aycock,
sorry.
the reason that the thing was moved was because you previously had said none of that money could be moved until they finally finished the Southern Wayne Gym. And that's why it had, so it really wasn't theirs to move till they finished that.
Okay.
Okay, number 663 on page 58. This is to adjust the amount that I originally budgeted for radio purchases for the fire departments. You probably recall that we financed the purchase of radios for some of the fire departments, but some of those fire departments elected to pursue a grant, and a lot of them received that grant and was able to pay off that amount very quickly. So we're not going to have to finance those radios, and so I'm reducing the amount out of our capital project fund that I had originally budgeted to be financed. And so that's what this budget amendment represents. Does that make sense? And I have two more budget amendments. Those are your actual additional copies that Carol passed out to you. Number 670 is blank. It says fire districts, but you have a breakdown behind that budget amendment, and I've got a memo that kind of summarizes that breakdown. But as the county has, the fire districts have received more in property taxes, vehicle taxes, and sales taxes than was budgeted this year. And what they receive, we are required to turn around and pay out to them. So in order for us to finish paying them out for the year, we needed to anticipate that additional revenue. So that's number 670.
While we're on it.
Yes, sir.
Just a little explanation. The reason that some of the figures off as much as they are, when the fire department turns in their budgets, they're really estimating a lot of it. And if you have new subdivision or something pop up during that year, that's what drives, a lot of what drives it up. It shows progress for the county when it is higher, actually higher than what they had anticipated.
And we also had our revow year last year as well.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult to budget this upcoming budget year. I think we gave them a disclaimer that, just to be very conservative, because we just don't know how it's going to affect, their monies. So your last budget amendment in the packet that was handed out to you, number 672, is for the Register of Deeds. We actually had one of these back at the beginning of June. She collected a tremendous amount of revenues in the month of June and ended up owing an additional amount to the state because there's a certain percentage of the revenues there that are required to be remitted to the state. So in order for us to finish paying out for June, we had to appropriate additional funds in the overcollection of revenues to pay out what we owe the state. And thank you. I know that was a lot.
Yep.
And on this last one, number 672, over collected. Most people that live in the county that pays tax does not realize that the fees and all that we collect, permits and all that, part of that goes to the state. The county does not. The county doesn't get all that money.
Right.
I think one of the Register of Deeds fees, like half of it goes to the state,
Yeah.
so we get to keep 50%.
Yep. Any other comments or questions on the budget amendment?
Mr. Chairman, I'm trying to figure out how to word this motion without listing all of the numbers for all of these. What I would do is I would make a motion that we approve all the budget amendments that were presented with the exception of number 608, which was withdrawn.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there any more conversational questions? All in favor of the budget amendments as set, number 608, I'll say aye, please. Aye. Aye. Okay, we are unanimous, motion carries. Okay, Mr. Honeycutt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next is a motion to adopt Resolution 2020-24, resolution declaring surplus real property and authorizing its sale, and I'll turn that over to Andrew.
I almost said good morning, too. I'm so used to coming up here in the morning. There's two properties that are owned for sale, surplus properties today. It's 821 Olivia Lane in Goldsboro and 1704C South Slocum Street. Both of them were obtained via tax foreclosures. 821 Olivia Lane is approximately half the tax value, and that's usually in line with the offers that we receive and that the city receives. 1704, as you can see, the offer that we received was $800, even though the tax value was $3,500. I actually have been out there to 1704. It's been condemned by the city, and I believe probably that tax value is maybe a bit high given the current state of the property. So a lot of work needs to be done on it, and this was the highest that Mr. Jones was willing to offer given all that work. They have made a deposit, and if you pass this today, we'll open it up for upset bids for 10 days. Then it would go to the city council for approval.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just as a matter of information, how long has this property been in arrears prior to you doing what it takes to get rid of it?
I can't remember exactly. 1704 off the top of my head, I cannot remember when we obtained that one via tax foreclosure. I know 821 Olivia Lane was foreclosed on probably within the last year. I recognize that address. That's one that I handled. And usually those are anywhere between 4 to 7, sometimes even 10 years past
10 years.
when we foreclose on them. It just
What-
depends on the property and where it's
What is
situated.
the penalty per dollar or per $100 or per whatever that's attached to these properties when they're in arrears? What's the percent?
So interest runs to the first of every month, the delinquent interest. That's automatically calculated by the tax office, and that starts, in January. Obviously, your tax bill is due in September, but interest doesn't accrue until January. So as long as they're not paid, then the interest still accrues on the
And
first
do you know
of
what
every
the
month.
interest amount is? You do not?
6%? I think it's 6%. I'd have to check. It's 8 or 6. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Any other,
6 sounds right, though. I believe that's what it is.
any other comments or questions? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Do we want to vote on this one separate? Okay. What's the preference of the board?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to adopt Resolution 2020-24. All in favor, say aye.
Because this will be back on the tax books.
Yeah, okay. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Honeycutt?
Next is motion to approve voting delegate for the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners 113th Annual Business Conference session. It is my understanding that no Board of Commissioner member would like to sit in front of a Zoom meeting for 4 hours, and that I have been kindly asked to be that delegate.
Now, you didn't have to quite put it in those.
At least you didn't say railroaded.
Nobody kindly, I think we just told him to do it.
What'd you say, Commissioner Pate?
You didn't get railroaded.
No, I'm more than happy, if my board has asked me, I am more than happy to do it, so. But there needs to be a motion to authorize me to be the delegate.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve County Manager Craig Honeycutt for the voting delegate for the NCACC's 113th Annual Conference Business Session. Any questions or comments? Congratulations. All in favor, say aye.
But don't turn the mileage in now.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
he kept his mask on during that. Did you notice that? Yeah.
So-
Thank you, Mr. Honeycutt.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay.
Next, on the county manager's comments, I just wanted to mention real quickly a really huge shout out to our partners at UNC Wayne, the Health Department, EMS. Appreciated the chairman coming out to Goldsboro Transit Authority last week, as well as we started our testing for COVID. It could not have run better. We had community partners, we had community volunteers. It really was a very good thing. And got an email from our health director, Dr. Brenda Weiss, that yesterday they did Spring Creek Middle School, and they actually did 147. And they were looking at, a goal of 75. So they'll be out at Spring Creek again tomorrow as well. So, but again, our facilities department helping set up, just really, public affairs, it really was very much a team effort. And Mr. Chair, if you wanted to say anything as well about that.
I would like to, at this point, to especially encourage the public. We got a lot of questions. I got some, after sharing our video that we did, I got quite a few text messages. And I think one of the main things is people were missing the very title, free COVID testing. I had a bunch of people ask, what does it cost? Well, the key is, I don't want to remind the public, this is free. You don't have to have symptoms to go get tested. You can go through and get it done. It's about a 3 or 4 day turnaround to get the results. I would encourage every citizen in Wayne County that if you can, to go through one of these drive-through locations, get a free test. Look, people say, well, a one-day test don't mean nothing. Well, it does. It means that you don't have it for that day, so why not? So I encourage, and our public wants that. They want to have the satisfaction that a majority of people have been tested and really know where we are as far as the number of cases. So this is all taxpayer money when you get down to the bottom line. I know it came through the CARES Act, but it's still taxpayer money. why don't our citizens go and take advantage of this? It's a great thing. Got all kinds of different locations coming up. Again, you can look, like you said, at the Health Department website. You can go to our website, waynegov.com. You can go to a lot of places to find out these different locations. So I was really impressed with what I saw and the participation. The coordination and the volunteers was unreal. So thank you. Appreciate your input. And also, Chip, our Assistant County Manager, thank you for being there.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
As I look around, I don't see anyone who looks like they're a nurse in here, but I like to ask this question. How many different types of tests are we administering? I've heard there's 2 or 3 different ones you could have done.
We're doing the nasal swab. I actually did it myself while I was there. You stick the Q-tip up your nose, twist it 4 times, stick it up the other nostril 4 times, break it off, put it in the vial, and you're done.
You pushed it up your nose yourself?
Yes, sir.
They do it.
No, I did. It was
they let you do
self-administered. It was self-administered.
Oh, okay. I'm
And
sorry.
I was leading to something. I was interested that you say you did your own. And this is from a couple of people who have gone and had it done. They said that pushing that swab up your nose, according to who's doing it, you may have rather not having it done because it's not pleasant. And I understand there's more than one. There's a test that does not include pushing that swab up your nose, because one person said that they stopped the person midway, and another person who did it said that they described it to him, and before he was ready, they pushed it up his nose, and it was way up there. So I'm just saying, my chairman said he wondered why people won't just rush in and getting it done. There are a few horror stories out there about it. So that's why I asked if we're administering more than one method.
And right now, I think we're only doing one. I think it may be because of the availability of the tests. And so, and maybe the cost as well. So, this is, I think, the one that was probably easiest obtainable, and we could do it quicker because we really did it within a week and a half time frame as far as the coordination. Once we, and again, I've got to give a shout out to Dr. Weiss and the work that she's done, and especially the coordination. She's just done an absolute fabulous job of doing this.
Do you know what the cost of that particular one is?
No, sir.
You said it was free.
It's free.
Well,
Well, just a minute,
Yeah.
If it's free,
we're paying for the testing, or the through the CARES grant. We're paying for the test and the review of.
is there another one that's not as intrusive as that one?
Probably.
You said probably.
Yes.
That's what I have heard.
Yeah.
And it's according to someone decides other than you as to which one you can get. Now, you know what the word, everyone know what the word intrusive means, and it can be a various degree of intrusion. And I think the public would like to know how many different ones are available. If we have the dollars to afford something that's not, because if different people can stand different things. There's a good possibility we may get more participation if there's a less intrusive test. I'd like someone to sort of give, someone who knows a little bit more than all of us in here, to give just more information on it.
And I agree. We'll work on that for you, yes, sir.
The only one I'm aware of, I've had mine done at my doctor's office also, is a swab. I'm not aware.
Yeah,
Unless the hospital, unless it is set aside for hospitals and places like that. My doctor's office did have the 15-minute test, he did have that. So I was able to get my results in 15 minutes, but it costs more, of course.
Right. Was there blood work involved with that? Oh, okay. So-
I don't think I'm talking about how long it take you to get the results back. I'm talking about what the process
The
of having it
process
done
is.
is. When I'm
But
talking about how long-
I would say that what I've heard on the swabbing process, that it's a very small percentage of people that are uncomfortable with it. I think the small percentage would not want us to change what we're doing in order to keep these tests going, you know? So, okay, any other comments?
We'll check.
How many times have anybody been to the doctor that didn't probe or punch something with you? I mean, if, I don't get it, I mean.
Well, which part of it you don't get? I mean, my point is that if it's intrusive, it's intrusive. And you may have got someone that, the chairman said he did his own. And I've heard that it was, it could be very uncomfortable, and I'll leave it at that. And
Okay, well,
whenever we go to the doctor, it's going to the doctor. But I just want to know how many different tests it is and what are the different degree of intrusion per test.
The health department can tell you exactly how many people complain.
I know that's.
They're the ones that give it, you know?
Thank you.
So, thank you, appreciate it. Any other comments? Okay. Okay, that's, we were in our comments. I think. I sort of got behind on yours, Craig. You got it?
Oh, I'm done.
You finished?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. The commissioners committee reports. Mr. Ed, Cromartie?
I think since we met, I was on a telecom with DSS, I believe it.
We had a DSS board meeting.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that's the one that I was involved in, and we, the board, the DSS department is in good hands and doing a good job. No other comment.
Okay. Ms. Baker?
With the virus and all going on, some of the things that we usually do is on hold. But I do have one thing, and I will have to get the information to Carol, and she can send it out by email. It was planned, I think, for the 18th of July. Mr. Woodrow Anderson turns 100 years old, and Mr. Anderson is a World War II veteran that actually witnessed the surrender of Japan. He was on a escort ship right beside when they signed the papers, and Representative Bell and Senator Perry is working on some things for him. It was planned, I think, for the 18th at the First Church, and they've had to go back because of the virus and redo it. So they're going to have some things going on at Mr. Anderson's house on the 18th, 19th, and 20th. And I do not have all of the details right yet, but I will get them to Carol, and she can send the email out. And I really don't know the extent of what they're going to do because of not being able to do it at the church. But that's to be 100 years old and witness to the signing of World War II in the Pacific. That's big.
Yeah.
But like I say, I'll get the information to Carol. She can send an email out on it. And that's all I have, sir.
Okay. Mr. Worrell?
Yeah, there's a big concern in the county of, I would say, going into stores and people not wearing their masks. Very big safety concern. But is there anything as a county that we can do? But I do realize there's a loophole in the process of that. Is there anything as a county that we can do?
Other than encouraging, not a lot of enforcement.
Not a lot of enforcement.
Other than encouraging, Communities that pass resolutions in support. I think I sent the board one today that Nash County recently did. Just encouraging, but again, as far as enforcement, it's very, very difficult.
Okay.
And I think, I think for some of it, I can't tell you how many times I've got out of my vehicle to go into a place of business and get to the door and realize I don't have a mask, I'm gonna have to turn around and go back and get it. I mean, I think, not all of it, some of it's just being hard-headed, but some, I think some of it is, we just, especially when you get my age, you just forget.
Yeah, I think a lot of the enforcement is going to have to come from that individual store or establishment.
It will.
Yeah.
It will. When you see signs on the front of a store that says you cannot enter without a mask, but if somebody walks in without it, nobody says anything. Right. So I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
You get some feedback through this system. Y'all getting the feedback through this system we're talking? Echoing.
But if you would like, we could consider that resolution as well. Just take a look at it and we can look at it.
We can do that. Yeah. Okay. You did? Okay. Mr. Daughter.
Well, been Mr. Controversial today. I attended the health department meeting, and in that meeting, we got into a lively discussion in regards to COVID-19. And one of the discussions that came up was, when are we going to open schools back up? When are we going to get back to actually living with some freedoms? The question came up in regards to athletics. Are we going to open up athletics? And I'm sorry, I took the position, why would we not? Well, my goodness, we sit around the table and we said, oh my goodness, well, we're not through with this yet. When will we ever see the end of COVID-19? Folks, I'm telling you, it's here. It's going to be here. And we're going to have to learn to live with it and not withdraw ourselves and not go home and hunker down and stay there. It was amazing to me to hear the conversations in regards to opening up football practice. And an individual made the comment, well, as long as they practice social distancing and wear a mask, and I'm thinking to myself, what are we going to do? Create new formations? I mean, we're talking about outside. Then I turned around and I asked a question. I asked a question there were 3 physicians in the room, and the question was simply this: what is the occurrence of, under the age of 18, of infection of COVID-19 in that population, from 6 years old to 18 years old? And they turned around and said, why would you ask that? And I said, well, don't you think it makes a difference what the infection rate is? So they Googled it and looked it up, and guess what? The percentage was so infinitesimal, it was just unrealistic in regards to the number of kids that are actually getting COVID-19. Then the question was, well, do they spread it? Well, we're not sure. Well, according to all of the information that is out, that's coming out, there is no spread from students. Well, why are we punishing our students of not sending them to school to get an education if they're not, one, being infected with it, or secondly, that they're not spreading it? I'm just saying, folks, we need to start to get a grasp of what we're doing to our society. And I'm sitting here just saying, I'm just baffled by some of this. But anyway, we had a very heated conversation led by Joe Daugherty at the health department. I do want to make sure everyone is aware of the fact that the Jetport will be having a ribbon cutting of our new corporate hangar. I visited yesterday, and it's something that really we are very proud of. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, we can only have a limited number of people at this ribbon cutting, but we would invite all of you to go by and actually see our new corporate hangar. That ribbon cutting is going to take place Thursday, the 16th at 11 a.m.
What date?
That's the 16th. That's a week from tomorrow.
That's actually on the calendar.
I think it is, isn't it?
Yes, it's, you know,
I was
there's
shocked.
nothing else on the calendar, but that's on there.
I do want to ask people to seriously contemplate where we're at and where are we going with COVID-19. Folks, we've got to find a way to get out of this. The whole reason, and I want to remind everyone, the whole reason for us to hunker down and stay at home was to hold down on the hospitalizations. And if we didn't, well, oh my goodness, the hospitalizations would be out of this world. Folks, I was amazed to have a prominent physician call me and ask me to make sure that the commissioners have an emergency meeting in order to order the refrigerated trucks that we were going to need to be placed at the hospital for temporary morgues. That the number of deaths in Wayne County were going to be so great. Now, I'm just saying, let's get a hold of ourselves here. Folks, it is a serious illness. I don't want to underestimate that. But with just some precautions, we can prevent the spread and limit the spread within our community. We do not have to give up our personal liberties, our freedoms, and we don't have to actually go home and hunker down and close the doors and board up the windows. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
There ain't no way I can follow that.
Before you attempt to follow that,
Yeah,
privilege, may I?
yes.
According to the infamous Dr. Fauci or something to that effect, I can't pronounce his name.
I'm not a fan of his.
And I would imagine that you're not, because he has a different opinion than our infamous president in Washington, D.C., so I know that I'm hearing talking points. But according to what they're saying on TV, the drawback to football players, for one, being involved in that, the germ is going to stay in the, last night, they gave a lengthy report that the germ will stay in the air a little longer than we had thought. Early in this discussion, it talked about people who are just jogging. They say if you're jogging, which I haven't been doing, but they say if you're jogging, thank you, sure, I'm not. But if you're jogging, you are expelling more of the germs than if you were just walking. So they're saying keep the distance when you're jogging. So now take the football players. There's a lot of huffing and puffing going on out there on that field. And just in case, I don't know how many of you play football, but each one of those collisions is going to cause some exhaling of air. You get hit in the stomach good, you're going to throw out some air. You're breathing hard, you're going to throw out some air and germs. They gave a list of the athletic sports that could be played with limited possibility of spreading the germs. You are correct, the under 18-year-olds seems to not to have that much of a problem, but they have grandparents and uncles and aunts that are older, and they're trying to make sure they don't bring that germ back home and kill grandmama and granddaddy, all right? So, yes, there is a perception among some that let's just live with it and let the numbers gonna die, just go ahead and die, because that's the way it sounds whenever you're listening to some, a certain number's gonna die, let them die. I think that once, it seemed like that most of the people dying was in rest homes. I'm being a little bit crushed when I say this, but I think some people say, well, look, those people are 75, 80 years old, 90, they already done lived a long time. They were gonna die anyway. That's how it sounds. Until it's your own grandmama or granddaddy. And they die. So, caution is all I ask for. Try to give us some time to get the vaccine out there. And let's not be in such a rush. It's been obvious that when they opened up the beaches, those young people went out there, the numbers exploded. And North Carolina's color is getting heavier. For a while, it had that light color. I saw it last night. They showed this heavy color like Texas, South Carolina, Georgia. That number started to run through the southern belt. And that number is getting heavier in color. So please, I say, let's be cautious. Let's not rush it. We'll be back out there in time. Thanks, sir.
Follow that one.
Well, yes. Yes, Commissioner Pate, do you have any comments?
Just very quickly, I can't share this. We will have our full hospital board meeting tonight, so I have more information next meeting. I can't share a report of the original meeting we had the other day. And actually, the numbers in Wayne County have come down, and the numbers at the hospital for COVID have come down, and which is good news. And the other good thing is, too, is the elective surgeries are up to about 85% now. So, while it may be getting worse in some places, Wayne County's actually looking better. But anyhow, I'll say the rest of what my report is for later. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Well, I will make just one comment. I saw a news report talking about schools and kids going back to school. You know, you can try to fix a problem and actually do more harm than if you leave it alone. And I'm going to give you an example. Our children need to go back to school for a lot of reasons. But I heard a news commentator yesterday, I believe it was, that said, if Wayne County, for example, or the state, let's just say that they decide we're going to do 3 days at school, and then we're going to do 2 days remotely. Well, what are these parents going to do on the 2 days remotely if they're working? What are they going to do with their child as far as child care and things like that? And this news commentator said that, so what you're saying is it's okay for kids to come to school 3 days a week and be amongst everybody, but the other 2 days, rather than being at school in their class, it's okay if they go to a nursery school at a private church somewhere and sit in their class all day long in a group of kids. It's okay if they do that, but it's not okay for them to sit every day in the classroom. What's the difference? And I thought that was a good analogy as to sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees. That's what I'm saying. Yes, Mr. Ed, we need to be careful. But we also don't need to create the same problem by making it harder on the parents, like on these 2 days that they would have to be at home school or whatever. There's a bunch of churches, including my own church. Our nurseries are open. Our nurseries are open. What is the difference? And that's all I have to say. Does anybody else have any comments? Okay. At this time, I declare us in oops.
You don't really don't need to.
I don't need. I don't? Okay. All right.
Got to do all this publicly.
Okay. All right.
That was just in the event they wanted to break.
Okay. So at this time, do we need a break, or we want to go straight into what's the commissioner want to do?
I'm good, move on.
You good to move on?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. At this time, we will do our interviews for the vacant seat on the Wayne County Board of Commissioners. Mr. Honeycutt, do you?
You do have a list of the applicants in your agenda packet, or are they, I'm sorry. Yeah. Who do we have first?
These have all been emailed to the
Right.
commissioners, but I can pass them out as well. What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna start with you, Mr. Cromartie, and let you take one and pass it down, and then I'll come down to that end and pick them all up. There's one. Yes, sir, this is one of the. And this is the final one.
Chairman, is it all right to bring all four of them up in the hallway and then call them in at a time?
Yes, it is. Yes, sir. Well, we're not going to ask any questions. It's just going to be presenting the case. So we do have an order that we're going by.
And Mr. Chairman, we are only listening to their presentation. We will not be asking any questions. Is that correct?
That's correct. There will not be any questions. And on that note, I'm going to pay that.
I mean, Mr. Goodman.
They're on the way up, is there any order you would like?
Yes, there is. Mr. Honeycutt.
Mr. Freeman Hardison first.
Okay.
Mr. David Jackson second. Mr. Doug Wiggins third. And Mr. Ronald Waters fourth.
That dude back out in the corner.
Did you hear that Tiffany was called? Oh, bringing hat in hand.
If you don't mind, let's wait just a minute for Mr. Ed to come back. We need to have him. And Mr. Pate, you're still there, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, all right. Just making sure you're awake.
I did like it. I took a break.
Okay, all right, I got you.
Say break or drink.
You know what you're talking about, right?
You heard that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Mr. Honeycutt, we're good.
First, we do have Mr. Freeman Hardison and Ms. Hardison. Turn it over to you.
Okay, I'm Freeman Hardison. I think most of you know me except for Mr. Wall. Chairman Mayor, thank you for having me here this afternoon. I'm seeking your vote and your support for the vacant seat of Mr. Commissioner Gurley. I retired to Wayne County in 2013, living in Grantham, my little piece of paradise, I like to call it. I'm a lifelong conservative Republican, and since my retirement, I've been involved heavily in the party, as most of you know, and in the community service of Wayne County. I've served the citizens of Wayne County in the following roles. I've been on the Wayne County Planning Board. I think you were on there with Mr. Camardi. Right now, I'm on the GWTA. I've been elected chairman twice on that committee. I'm on the Wayne County Hospital Board. I'm a former executive board member on the Wayne County Hospital. I'm the Building and Grounds current chairman, and I'm on the Quality Committee as a board member. I don't know why I'm nervous up here. I know all you guys. I'm a current board member on Watch, and I'm also a member of the Wayne County Extension Master Gardeners, and I'm vice chairman there. Okay. And while I've enjoyed serving on these committees, I think I consider the citizens of Wayne County, especially of District 4, better as a commissioner. So that's what I'm seeking to see. You're going to have a challenge in the coming years, and the main challenge is maintaining the fund balance and serving the citizens of Wayne County without seriously raising taxes. Now, we've had some people who were running unopposed of the other party have already said they want to redistribute the fund balance. Well, you all know, and I know that we need it, as is. Where are we going to get the money? We have another hurricane, another virus, so on and so forth. And you cannot have, I would say, feel-good projects, things of that nature, and not have to raise taxes. And I've been against that for a while now. No matter where the money comes from, whether it's state, local, or federal, it's taxpayers' dollars. Okay, and we can't keep balancing the budget on the taxpayers. Okay, over the years, I've led an international team. I've managed budgets from $300,000 to $5.7 million in my past career, and that includes managing people, managing international teams of folks, and make sure that my projects come under budget or very close, not over budget. Okay. A key attribute for for this board is going to be someone who can bring people together. Okay, I've done that on our local teams, on my local committees, as well as the GOP. However, in my former career, I managed international teams. That meant bringing people together, different ethnicities, different cultures, different backgrounds, different work ethics. And work ethics is a key point there. And forming teams that were successful. Okay, I think that's one of my great abilities if I have one. And most of you know I hate talking about myself, so pat myself on the back there. But about me, and this is what I hate. I graduated from Harpton High School, outside of Newton Grove, about halfway between Kenner and Newton Grove. I grew up on a small farm. My grandfather was an independent black farmer, one of the few there. He taught me respect, self-reliance, respect for others, and community. And since that time, that's basically what I've done. After graduating from Harpton, I went to North Carolina A&T on a presidential scholarship. Left there, spent 29 years as a chemist and various leadership roles for American Cynomid. Some of you old-time farmers may know American Cynomid. We produced a lot of the poisons, which are no good for us now. Okay. And after they left there, as I graduated into, just said that. Okay, in 2006, I joined Cadbury Schweppes as a business analyst, spent 2 years there, and moved up the ladder to finally Global Technical Data Center Solutions Manager. And there is where I form my international teams. I worked in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And my wife and Sandy and I, we have 2 sons and 3 grandsons. Matter of fact, it's my oldest grandson's birthday today, 17 years old. Time flies. And I'm a member of Union Baptist Church. I'm a Mason. I'm a lifelong member of the NAACP and a lifelong member of the NRA. That's basically it. If you have any questions for me.
Well, good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And like I said, I don't know why I'm so nervous up here. Thank you.
Next, Mr. Danny Jackson.
I'm good to take this off, right?
Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
you
All right. Good afternoon. I'm David Jackson. I'm pretty sure y'all got the same thing I'm holding right here. I'm not one to, they say you got 10 minutes to talk about yourself. I can't do that. I mean, there ain't no way. I'm going to hit the highlights of what you're looking at, and if y'all got some questions, I'd be more than glad to answer. I was born and raised in Wayne County, and graduated from high school, Rosewood, and went in the Air Force, 4 years active at Pope, and didn't leave far from home. Come back, got in reserves out here at Seymour, spent 29 more years there, retired with 33 years service. Retired 2015, retired as E9 Chief Master Sergeant. I also worked with the state Cherry Hospital at the steam plant where I was supervisor. Been in the fire department for 35 years, I think it is, where I was an EMT for 11, currently serving as safety officer, water rescue team leader, on the board of directors. Been on the Fort Township Sanitary District for 16 years, from 99 to 2015. Back to the military, I've been deployed to Saudi Arabia during Desert Shield, Desert Storm, 9/11 attacks. I went to France, and then I spent some time in Afghanistan in 2010. So I know what it is to be in the military, to be away, to make decisions that need to be made. I've been married for 37 years, I think it is. I hope the wife ain't listening. But we've got 2 children, 5 grandchildren. All of them live in Rosewood. And like I said, you know, Wayne County's my home. It's been my home the whole time. And I just, you know, trying to make it keep going with what Commissioner Gurley was wanting to do. And went to school with Joe. He was about 3 years ahead of me. Dana was about 2 years behind me. So I was in, I mean, we know the whole family. But like I said, I'm just, you know, I think I'm a good man for the job with everything that I've been involved in. And I think I'll make District 4 in Wayne County a real good commissioner. And I said, y'all got what I'm reading, so I'm not gonna beat it to death. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, I was the only one to run against Commissioner Gurley back during March, so I was ready for the job then. I'm ready for the job now. So y'all got any questions for me or anything like that?
We don't have any questions that we're going to ask at this time. We do appreciate you coming. We can get up with you if we need to. So thank you for coming and your presentation today.
Okay. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Back with the mask.
Next, Mr. Doug Wiggins.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Doug Wiggins. What's the procedures here?
Just
talk?
Tell us all about yourself. Yes, sir.
Okay, I've lived in Mount Olive most of my life. I think we moved there when I was 3. I love Wayne County. I love Mount Olive. I love North Carolina. And I love people. The purpose of me being interested in serving on this board is I've spent my life ministering to the people of Wayne County and some in North Carolina and in some positions across the country. I feel like that every decision that is made by a governing board should consider the least among us. And in working with people throughout my life, there's a lot of that gets overlooked. I've had the opportunity to work with folks from all groups that exist in the country: minorities, mentally ill, drug abuse victims, people with chronic illnesses, people whose families have broken up, people who've lost their incomes. And the one thing I think I have to offer to serve on this board is compassion and understanding. I don't have a group I champion. I have ideas and principles that I try to follow. Most of those came from my trust and belief in God. I served on the Board of Elections and made some of the best friends I'll ever have in life. And they think totally different than I do on most issues politically. But I don't think local government is as political as it is made often. Because to me, what's important is the people of Wayne County. And I don't mean just a group of people, I mean all the people. And if we're making decisions in whatever job we have that puts one group ahead of another, then we're making a mistake. And I feel like that with the time I've spent, the love I've gained for people in groups that I would not have been placed in if I had not served in the positions I did, I've learned to love all people. And I know that sounds cliche, but I think it's important. Because if you don't love people, how can you serve them? If you got any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
We're not asking any questions today, but we do have your phone number if we need to get that with you. Thank you, Mr. Wiggins, for coming and sharing with us today.
And I'm sure you'll make a good decision because I've met all these folks, and I think any one of them will make a great board member. And if you decide you want to spend some time with me, I hope we become great friends. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. Ronald Waters.
How are y'all today?
Hello.
I think I met a few of you before, a few things. My name is Ronald Waters. I live in the Rosewood community, and I've been there all my life. And I guess after Joe's death, several had mentioned to me about maybe being interested in the commissioner, which I always have. I watch on the TV a lot what y'all do, and I know a lot of your involvement, which is a great deal. I'll tell you, you probably already have it, but I was married to Paula Perkins Waters. We've been married 45 years. We have 3 sons, Ron, Brad, and Lee. We have 7 grandchildren, which 3 of them in Rosewood High School. We have 4 in the daycares there. Some of my, I guess you could say, accomplishments, but I've been involved with, first of all, with Rosewood High School Booster Club. I was president of that for 6 years, and at that time, biggest thing is trying to raise money for your athletics, which, you know, you only get X amount from your county or from your Board of Education. But we were very successful in raising a lot of money, and I found out one thing about raising money, that if you try, then the other side will try to help you with money. You know, the Board of Education is very good about, so, you know, you pay for half of this, we'll try to help you do this. So that's probably where my starting was about dealing with money. And the next thing, I'm on the Goldsboro Planning Commission, which our jurisdiction, the 2-year
the 2-mile jurisdiction, I'm the representative for that on the Goldsboro Planning Committee. And I've only been on that a year and a half now. But also, I've been involved with the Farm Service Agency here in Wayne County, and we deal with naturally the farmers and whatever issues come up. And I'm on my second year there too. And the other, and people wonder, well, why do you want to be a county commissioner? Well, I found out that there's a lot of issues from one side of the county to the other. And we all need to be in unison working for that. But also, I got to thinking, well, what can I do to help the Wayne County Board? And I thought, well, to me, we're probably lacking an industry in Wayne County than some others, but I know with we've got the new Shell building out in Park East. That's a good start. Another good start, we've got the new bypass, 70 highways, which, and 795, which helps I-95 in getting to I-40 north. That's the next project, I'm sure. But, and the next thing, we have the Maxwell Center, which is a very good accomplishment. I mean, number one to me, and I'm sure good things are going to come from that. But all in all, I know quite a few people in Wayne County throughout, and I feel like I'm a good listener, and I have been in charge of a lot of budgets. We have budget at our church also. I didn't mention that. So, and I think getting along would be a great thing. I get along good with people so far, and I am conservative on the conservative side. So basically, that's about all really I can tell you. I can tell you a lot, but there's not really time-wise. But anyway, and thank you for listening. Is there any questions that you need anything I can try to answer?
We have an opportunity, we'll call you with any questions that we might have. Thank you, Mr. Waters, for coming.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have a closed session at this time. Mr. Parker?
Yes, sir. One, to discuss matters relating to expansion of businesses in Wayne County, and two, to consult with your attorney to preserve the attorney-client privilege.
Okay, we want to take a break at this time? Are you okay? Move it. Yeah. Go ahead and move on. Okay, all right. Okay, we need to prepare for closed session.
I'm going to get...
All right, we need a motion.
Yeah, we.